Mike. How are you?
I'm very well, Ashley. How are you?
I'm doing good today.
That's good. I loved your wallpaper last time I saw it. Still love it. Well, look, like we do with everybody, it's really important to understand the human behind the exec. And so I'd just love to spend a couple of minutes hearing your personal story. Your how did you end up at YouGov?
Yeah. So, as Mike said, I'm Ashley Brown. I'm current as Senior Director of Account Management and Key Accounts here at YouGov US, working with accounts in the US and globally. How I got here probably isn't the most poignant story, but it all leads to all roads lead to research in YouGov. So, I'm from Atlanta, born and raised. I went to school for broadcasting. Actually, my lifelong dream was to be on the Today Show. I hardly pass a day without turning it on in the background. So that was what I wanted to do. I unfortunately graduated in 2009, which wasn't a great time for radio and TV. It was kind of at the start of satellite radio, streaming. So big recession just wasn't a good thing. So I landed in the hospitality industry and got to talking with people a lot. I had a short stint as a pastry chef and then kind of got to the point where I needed to get some insurance with my job. And then I landed happily in consumer targeting and data for a marketing company that specialized in automotive industry. So if you ever got any mailers from a car dealer or OEMs, that probably was me. Doing all the targeting for online, digital, email, mail, everything. From that, I found it incredibly interesting. Like working towards targeting the right people to grow your audience, retain customers, make sure they're happy, speaking to them correctly, etc. Which then landed me at another research firm. Most of you have probably heard of Simmons, now MRI Simmons. I spent 4 or 5 years there working on an account team, managing all of our emerging global brands, working with media, agencies of large and small. And then I really took a liking to working directly with advertisers and brands in general. I've been at YouGov just about 5 years now in my key accounts role, where I oversee the relationships with all of our clients in tech.
Wow, fantastic. I love that. Like you said, there's lots of research companies out there, but YouGov's got a very unique approach, hasn't it? So can you just talk a little bit about the mythology and how it works at YouGov?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, I think for a little bit of background, I've been around the block when it comes to research firms. Many I worked with from a client side. When I switched to vendor side, it was a little different. But I think the main thing that I like to say about YouGov is we are real time on the pulse. We call it research reality. We own and operate our own panel. We have 27 million panelists globally that opt in and want to be part of our panel. They like taking these surveys. They want to tell us how they feel about the world and how, what they think about the world. Because of that, we have a wide variety of solutions, everything down from, just a quick turn self-serve survey you can get answers to within an hour to a classic omnibus, full-scale custom research, be that trackers, ad testing, segmentations, anything of that nature. But then we also have two really amazing syndicated platforms that we utilize. The power of YouGov is that all of this can be connected.
That's amazing. And that's the real key, like the USP there, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I would not to get into a large discussion on AI, but we hear it all the time, right? Like AI, AI, AI. But there's many different ways to use AI with research. Like we're talking to real people and we're getting those answers from them quickly. AI can also help you summarize and read results quicker.
so let's get into the report.
All right, so YouGov, every year we publish many reports. One of our favorite ones, and one that gets a lot of traction and gets a lot of companies and brands involved in asking questions and just kind of spawns a lot of thought, is our most recommended brands report that we do annually and shows us what brands are being recommended the most across the globe. And then another thing we look at in here that I always find to be super interesting and kind of a really neat like zinger is what is driving people to be recommended to brands. And then we also look at improvers. So we look at the previous year's time period. So 2023, 2024 in this case, 24 to 25. Who grew the most? Like who was lower, like whose recommend score shot through the roof and why are they growing? And perhaps they had, that success that others didn't in the previous year. And in the US alone, 47% of people are likely to recommend brands that they're a member of their loyalty program. the top the top 3 ranking are going to be Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, and Singapore. One of our statements we track in all markets is like personalized ads creep me out. I would say I pulled it for the US and UK, both knocking over 50% of people agreeing that personalized ads creep them out. We have another thing we look into pretty deeply about like if I see an ad that's too personal, I won't click on it. I think there is a certain balance you have to find between that personalization play because it's like, okay, that's weird. Like, how did you know I was thinking about that yesterday and now my name is on here? Ew. But then there's also the types of brands that do a really amazing job of like playing into your interests and your core values in a more passive way that really makes you feel connected with them and it not like it was a direct grab on your thoughts. I think of it less as a thing about you reading my data when you're in a personalized rewards app and it's like, oh, Ashley, I'm making something up here. But like if you're a member of a fast food app rewards program, like they're going to give you rewards based off what they know you ordered, right? Brands are part of the culture and be it like you can get a lot of, I mean, there's so much happening right now with brands in the US and controversy, but like it's a form of social currency and you can totally get in a snap of a finger without even knowing. Your brand can be all over the place for the wrong reasons when you spend all this time connecting with your audience. So it's just why you really need to know your audience, how they align, how they feel about things. You can tell somebody all day that, you know, my product is less expensive and better quality, but that might not drive them to buy it. They want to feel connected.
So let's dive in a bit now because I want to talk about this. And you just mentioned it earlier. There's been some like shift on a global scale. The US is kind of a bit of a standout country right now with regards to brands and stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, like this report looked at several different markets, I think 10 or 12 in total. But what we have is like a look at the global top 10 brands. And then for this purpose of this conversation, I'm going to look at the top in the US and UK and kind of the differences. I think you'll be interested to see that they're very different between the US and UK. Globally, though, I'll go ahead and give you the top 3. Number 3 is Levi's. Number 2 is Toyota. And number 1 is Emirates. Guinness comes in at number 1.
So is this the US? Is this the US?
So what does that say about the US? We like to drink, maybe. We're a little stressed out right now. I don't know. But I will also point to Guinness. Like they did exactly what we were just talking about, which is finding a way to connect personally with their consumers and customers. They launched a massive campaign last year. I think it was called the Made of Me campaign that they did with BBDO. And it essentially took the Guinness tagline is made of more, and it talks about like the 4 key ingredients, but they took the made of more 4 key ingredients and also like humanized it in a way of they released all these ads of different types of people who drink Guinness, tell their personal story, you know, touching stories that are keeping you compelled to continue watching the advertisement and not even maybe realizing you're watching a Guinness ad. So it really built that personal connection.
Can I just ask a question though? Sorry, I don't. You might not have this at hand, but where has Guinness been on the scale previously? Sorry,
You know what? I had that and I need to find it. But they generally always make the list. They were not number 1 last year, but I'm almost positive they were in the top 5. But in the same vein, like our number 1 most improved brand for recommendation was X, aka Twitter. Guinness always does a really good job and they always make the list, which I always find to be interesting because they're not an American-made brand,
no.
but they seem to have really high global appeal.
Yeah, no, I'm really interested, and yeah, I'd love to get that data point off.
Yeah,
Now the tracks, and I'll share. Yeah, we'll share that with later because I think it's really interesting. Okay, cool. So
for the UK, get ready for it because when you say are they polarizing or similar, very different. The top 3 brands in the UK, number 3 is Emirates. Obviously, we saw that's number 1 globally. Number 2 is Gucci, and number 1 is Prada. So what we're seeing here is a complete dichotomy of the types of people that we are seeing. And
so hold on a minute. The Brits haven't voted for alcohol, but the Americans have.
Yeah,
and we got the fashion. That's a twist, isn't it?
or perhaps we can speak to the culture here in the US, maybe driving us to drink a little bit. There is a lot going on. Not to get political, but I think, hey, no matter what, there's a lot happening. So
You know, what I love is there's obviously this big pull to make marketing more emotional, which I think both of those reports in the UK and US show that, but in different frameworks. But what have you seen?
yeah, I mean, I think I keep kind of bringing it back to loyalty, but I think across the globe in general, like loyalty is going to be key. That is something you can probably, obviously, budgets are under strain. I know that every day from working with brands all over the world. Um, habit like things are shifting. It's a matter of, do we want to really launch this new product and make every single person on the planet know we have a new offering or we've changed something, or are we really just wanting, like, we have a new product but we need to keep a steady customer base?
Is YouGov accessible to everybody, like, you know, for solopreneurs as well as kind of the bigger businesses and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we work on a, like, depending, yes, we can work with anybody. If you wanna look at some of our data, we do have an offering on our main website of, like, profiles and brand index light where you can get a taste of it, and then we have our daily website has all sorts of data that we run globally, daily questions, pulse on, like, culture, politics.
What do you think brands are doing or are they achieving to cut through that attention economy?
With the attention economy, what we often see is people getting attention for all the wrong reasons, right? We've had a recent controversy, I would say, with a large clothing brand here in the US with a partnership with a actress that has really blown out of the water, right?
It's mental, isn't it? Mental.
Go wild. But can we go back to the no any news is good news? Now that's not always the case, but there are these moments, and this is kind of a twofold answer. You can cut through the noise on accident, but the way you react to it is very important. Like the way you react to a brand event or like maybe crisis news event, there is a way to keep your customers and make them feel connected to you still by the way you handle that. So I think, that's one thing. If you find yourself cutting through the attention economy noise in that manner, the way you handle that is going to be very important. Research, data, it'll tell you like the best way to talk to those people to keep them engaged and have that kind of just be a blip. Now, on the flip side, I think just in general, to cut through the attention economy, it's going to be all about those relationships. People don't want to be felt like a transaction, right? You want to make them feel as though they are somebody that you care about.
And a quick fire round. What are you reading right now?
So I have two books. I'm in the dead middle of reading a book called The Friday Afternoon Club. It is a memoir by an actor named Griffin Dunn.
And then final one, is there a quote that you're relating to right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a quote that some of my colleagues and I made up, but we've been using is like, be a woman of action, be a man of action, be a person of action. I think.
Love it. I love it. Ashley, this has been fantastic. A really great way to wrap up. And just, really insightful about the dynamics of brands. I loved the fact that we could really have a look at the difference between the US and the UK. It's a really good reminder of how we've still got to remind we are in different countries and different regions, no matter how global we're going. And I've learned a lot. Thank you so much for sparing time.
Well,
Really appreciate it.
really fun. So.
Yeah.